To better explain the importance of the debt to asset and the debt to equity ratios that you'll encounter throughout the text, I thought it'd be important to show you sort of an example. Let's say, for instance, on January 1st, our company started off with $100 of total assets, $0 of liabilities, and $100 of shareholders' equity. You can see that these percentages here represent the amount of equity relative to the total assets or the amount of liabilities relative to total assets. So if this box were to represent the amount of total assets we have, we could say that because total equity equals total assets, that equity represents 100% of total assets, or a better way of phrasing this is there is a 100% equity mix or capital mix of 100% of equity. March 1st, we have decided to incur some debt. And let's say we go to a bank and we ask for about $10 in some type of a loan, and we get that in cash. The effect of that would be to increase our total assets to 110 and increase our total liabilities or total debt to 10, while the equity remains at 100. So the effect of this is to now say that our capital mix is now 91% equity and 9% debt. In other words, the amount of assets that stockholders have claimed to has decreased from 100% to 91%. And the percentage claim of total assets that creditors now have is now 9% of total assets. On June 1st, let's say we decided to get another $10 worth of debt. The effect of this would be to increase our total assets to 120 and increase our debt to now 20. The effect is to change our capital mix from 91% equity to 83% equity, 17% debt. So you can see now that the claim, the amount of total assets that stockholders have claimed to, is decreasing as we increase total debt. In other words, creditors, as they begin to lend us more money, are taking a bigger stake, if you will, on total assets. Let's say we decide to go ahead and double the amount of debt, borrow more money. The effect of this is to obviously increase total liabilities, increase total assets, which would thus result in a change to our capital mix of 71% equity, 29% debt. And let's say on December 1st, we decide to double that debt again. And it goes up to $80 in total debt, $180 of total assets. Again, stockholders remain at $100. The effect of this is to now change our debt to asset ratio from 29% to 44% and our equity to total asset ratio from 71% down to 56%. These are the dangers of a company incurring more and more debt, because it's much cheaper for companies to reach out to banks for additional capital than it is to issue more stock. So stockholders are very cautious about the overall stake that they have in total assets, hence the importance of having an equity to asset ratio as well as an overall debt to asset ratio. If this amount keeps getting higher and higher, as you can see, eventually the stockholders will have less and less claim to total assets, and thus a big concern about where the company is headed. So overall, you can see that even though the actual amount of equity, $100, has not changed period over period, you can see that the percentage claim of stockholders to total assets declines over time as the company incurs more and more debt. In other words, the more creditors begin to lend to the company, the greater stake they have in the company's total assets and the less stake that the stockholders have to total assets.